Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the campaign show. It's so good to see you, and you are in a good place today. No matter what, you're in a good place because you're here, and maybe you believe in God. I hope so. Maybe you believe in something that's bigger than yourself. Maybe you believe in country. Maybe you believe in God and country, and you want to see the country do better because obviously the country right now, theoretically speaking, it's almost as though like pedophile vampires are like lording over the people in like a weird dystopian, horrific, kind of scenario that I think everyone in the world is sort of like realizing. And the fact that everyone in the world is realizing the badness, the darkness, the no good aspects of the power structure in the New World Order, which has been partially implemented, right? The New World Order is like sort of halfway done at this point, but it's still in this halfway stage. It's still in like the construction stage, and these people are very incompetent, and they're being exposed. When I look at Twitter, I see like extremely based content all the time, which is not to weigh in on or whatever on all of that, but the energy of the people is about like posting really awesome stuff and truth stuff and whatnot, and there's just so much good content to go through, right? And it's the people who are really driving the content revolution. It's not the handful of influencers that retweet other people's citizen videos, and then they're like, wow, the good people in Israel really would like this clip. That's not, even though they rack up followers and whatnot. But, there's just so many great people out there who are realizing the truth. And there's so many great people, by the way, who are trying to warn others as well. And although, this lady is sort of, being made fun of by the angry mob, there's something going on, and she's not believing the mainstream narrative. And she realizes probably that there's some kind of other dimension out there. Many, many, many people out there believe that there's more than one dimension, that there's more than one realm. Certainly a lot of people believe that there is a heaven and a hell. And in many other religions, and people who are just spiritual people think that there's something else going on. Well, this woman, she's my damsel in distress. How do I save her? And please, ma'am, please, if you're watching the campaign show, if you're a viewer, please leave a comment, and we'll get in touch with you for an interview. But let's take a look. By the way, I'm your defender. I'm your respector. So let's take a look.
Say whatever you want. I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two.
I feel this way all the time.
But I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with them or not. I'm not going to. Bye.
Look, that's sort of like me a lot of the time, my mood. Not so much about, calling out shapeshifters on the plane, but it's just like, hey, that guy's a rhino. And then other people being like, get out of CPAC, Howley. And I'm like, you could believe me or not. I don't even give to, what she said, kind of. But, that's sort of like, at a certain point, as a truther, as somebody who realizes what globalism is and the New World Order is, you start kind of feeling like that lady, just like, you could believe me or not. Okay, let's say I get 30% here. That 30% is getting on the arc. And, you may have the 70%. But actually, we're in the majority, though, if you look at the election results, right? Because you got President Donald Trump clearly winning in a landslide in 2020, according to many reports, many observers, the massive amounts of, cheating that allegedly the Democrats had to do in order to try to defeat President Donald Trump and defeat America first. And now you got Trump running, still doing massively well in the polls. You got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. running. A lot going on, lots to talk about. But Whoopi Goldberg thinks that you shouldn't talk about everything. Whoopi Goldberg is looking like a Star Wars character these days, and she is on The View. And she's one of the ladies on The View, Alyssa Farah there. Alyssa Farah, previously of Washington, D.C., the young people scene. She was probably in like 30 Under 30 or something like that, back in the day when she was at some think tank or whatever. She ended up working for Mike Pence. Oh, man. Mike Pence. And now she's on The View. She's like the anti-Trump Republican on The View. Is she wearing orange? What's this trend of them wearing orange now? No, Anna Navarro is wearing orange. All right, so Anna Navarro is wearing orange because you see the White House lady wearing orange too. And here's actually a scientific fact. In nature, orange actually naturally is sort of a divisive color. It's sort of threatening. It's like if the predator comes by, like flash the orange, and it's like, whoa, orange. Like I don't want to, And it's like, why are they presenting that? Why not be warm and like wear blue or something like that? But there's sort of like this orange thing going on. Whoopi, whoop whoop. She's angry at Maureen Dowd because Maureen Dowd wrote a column about the Hunter Biden so-called illegitimate child. I don't believe that children are illegitimate. God made this child in Arkansas. Hunter Biden sired this child. This is a matter of public record. And various people have been trying to get Joe Biden to say, hey, you have this other grandchild. It's not just the ones that you recognize. But this didn't sit right with the whoopster.
The reason that's happening is because the right wing, who again is weaponizing everything related to Hunter, keeps asking, so how many children do you have, Mr.
No, it's
Grandchildren do you have? How many?
It's been speeches he delivered.
Maybe Maureen Dowd should find something else to write about.
Yeah, write about something else.
I'm sorry. These things are, for me, when you start talking about people's families and what they're doing, I find it
the Democrats never
unnecessary.
Do that.
This is not anybody's business. Nobody needed to know about this. No. This is private. And I know people feel like you need to know everything. I'm sorry, you don't. You need to know not almost anything about people.
Not almost anything.
If it was Trump, we would talk about it, is the thing. If Trump had a grand...
Hush your mouth, child. You want to speak about Hunter Biden and his illegitimate child? Just hush your mouth. Hush your mouth, all right? Hush your mouth. Hush up. Hush. Whoopi's hushing us. She doesn't want us talking about the Hunter Biden illegitimate child in Arkansas. She says basically that the public does not have a right to know. You don't need to know nothing. Hush your mouth. Wisdom from Whoopi Goldberg. So I love when they arrive at a new talking point and it never makes any sense. Like you could tell when the White House lady, Karine Jean-Pierre, first came up with this like brilliant idea to just say she's not answering that. I'm not answering that. And she was probably applauded in her social circle. Like, yeah, good girl boss energy. You tell them you're not going to answer it. Yeah, I'm not answering that. And then that became sort of her crutch, just refusing to answer the questions. But that was kind of her thing. I guess she thought that would take off. I don't think America really appreciated it too much. But then you have Whoopi Goldberg right there sort of straining for a while until she comes up with the talking point, which gets the applause line. Maureen Dowd should find something else to write about. And then I think Sunny there, I think her name was Sunny, who was one of the other ladies who was like, that's right, Maureen Dowd, find something else to write about. Right? So then they sort of direct their anger at Maureen Dowd. And that's how they do it. It's just deflect. It's deflection politics with the Democrats. Whoopi Goldberg's like the goalie there. She's the goalie for Biden. Hush your mouth, child. Don't talk about Hunter. Don't be talking about Hunter. You gonna get through me, child. You won't talk about Hunter. Right? She's playing defense for the Biden team. Oh my. All right. I just love our Whoopi Goldberg coverage, and I do think that The View is missing out on a promotional opportunity by not having a Whoopi cushion sound effect if Whoopi, doesn't do so well that day in the debates and whatnot. But if she does well, it should be like this old soul singer being like, whoop, whoop, right? It should be like a funk kind of like, whoop, whoop, sound effect. You just got whooped with rhetoric, right? But Whoopi never has really taken off. I mean, she's been on that show for a long time. Prior to that, she was in various movies. She was in one movie that I saw where she was like a fan who became the coach of the New York Knicks. I believe the movie was called Eddie. Absolutely terrible. Like, how did this get made? How many millions of dollars went into this that could have gone to charity, for instance? But no, it went to make the movie Eddie, starring Whoopi Goldberg, which was an absolute terrible movie. And I'm sure she, made other terrible movies too. I didn't see the one where she played a nun. I guess that was her big one. She played a nun in
Sister
one.
Act. No,
Sister Act.
Sister Act is fire. Sister Act is good. Sister Act 2, very good.
Sister Act 2?
There's a second one, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen, to be fair. You get blind. See, you pop off your mouth about Sister Act, and then we got a Sister Act fan right here. I never would have thought. Is that a cult film, or are there a lot of hipsters sitting around and watching Sister Act too? Is that sort of like a new kind of John Waters sort of thing?
There's more cultish action in the Star Trek universe where she played Guinan.
She was in Star Trek, right?
She was the wise imp. Even Picard would go to her for advice. He's the leader of the flagship of the Federation. Would go to the Black Imp. And she would give this great advice.
She played the Black Imp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed that one. I missed that arc.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's settle down here. Hey, Whoopi Goldberg. I would love to have Whoopi come on this show, by the way. I would love a debate between me and Whoopi Goldberg. Come on, sell tickets to that. Let's go. Come on, me against Whoopi Goldberg in a debate. I'm game. Basically any topic, Whoopi, within reason here, but Whoopi doesn't want us knowing about Hunter Biden. Hey, a USA Today reporter kayaked next to the state capitol in Montpelier, Vermont, which is basically like underwater. Like it's going down a little bit, but as of today, like the capital of Vermont, Montpelier, is basically like totally flooded. Like, so this guy was kayaking.
I hate Mondays.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you got President Donald Trump, who is, I would say, the American badass, as Kid Rock might say. And when he was at UFC, I mean, he was hanging out with Mel Gibson. You saw Roger Stone hanging out with Mel Gibson, right? You saw President Donald Trump just, being a baller, being a boss. We showed his entrance on this show to UFC, right? Where he's with Dana White and everybody's like, Trump, yeah, Trump, MAGA, let's go, Donald, DJT, let's go, make America great again, drain the swamp, baby, build the wall, lock her up, let's go. People getting amped up, like, Donald, he's going to pardon himself if he wins, like, everybody's cheering for this. I hope he pardons himself if he wins, obviously. I mean, why wouldn't he, right? And then he could be like, all right, now it's time to govern. Today, I hereby pardon Donald J. Trump. And you can tell that he's kind of like the new Johnny Cash. Whatever, you can criticize him, but he's running while they're trying to put him in the gulag, and he's winning the race right now. When a cage fighter gets out of the cage to show his respect, then you are the American badass.
Let's go.
It is Dracus Duplessis showing his respect. Dracus Duplessis showing his respect for the commander-in-chief, the real commander-in-chief, like the legitimately elected one, not the one who they're like, oh, this creepy guy, this mentally vacant guy who, Joe Biden, who's like, he the quote-unquote president, but they put him in a fake Oval Office across the street from the White House. Yeah, that guy, not a big fan of him. But President Donald Trump, the guy who made peace with North Korea. By the way, Kim Jong-un is based on Ukraine, on the whole Ukraine situation. He's against the U.S., sending, their military might over there to Ukraine. And he's like loving Putin, actually. So, look, we're not supporting Kim Jong-un's treatment of his people, but President Donald Trump got this guy to listen to some sense. And I've always thought that Kim Jong-un is a stooge of China, by the way. I am not a Kim Jong-un fan. However, when you have Kim Jong-un, with Putin being like, hey, obviously the U.S. is wrong here. And by the way, this is some recent news that not a lot of people are talking about. Kim Jong-un basically, he's running things over there with his sister. Have you seen that cold, icy stare of the sister of Kim Jong-un?
I can save her. You got the plain girl. I got the icy stare woman.
I can get the plain girl. You can get Kim Jong-un's sister, and we'll go on a little double date to UFC. And this is the new America. But no, listen. They say that they fended off a U.S. spy plane that was going over there with their warplanes. So North Korea, according to their claims, they're so strong now and they're so against the U.S. that they're actually sending their warplanes to basically intercept a U.S. spy plane, according to their claim, and turn it around and be like, get out of here. This is North Korea. Get out of here. You know, go back and make your Bud Light commercials there, U.S. of A., right? That is how America is just getting totally clowned on the world stage. They're making this claim. You know, we're going to show Creepy Joe in just a minute here, totally selling us out. But then you got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. challenging Creepy Joe in the Democrat primary, gaining steam. Here he is. He made an ad based on his conversation with Glenn Greenwald about China. And it sounds like Bobby Kennedy Jr. is supporting a peace through strength policy.
Let me ask you about China. You just alluded to the fact we're treating the Russians baselessly as an enemy. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you see China in the same way as an enemy of the United States who needs to be treated as an enemy? Or do you think we can also foster more collaborative or at least less antagonistic relationships with Beijing?
I do see them as an adversary of the United States. I think they're competitive with us, they're ambitious, and the indications are that the Chinese leadership does want to dominate the globe and have access to the natural resources in the developing world. But the Chinese do not want to compete with us militarily, and they shouldn't. We have 3 times the military budget that they do. We spend more on our military than the next top 10 nations combined. We have 800 bases all over the world. The Chinese have 1.5 bases outside of China, so they're not looking for a military competition, and we shouldn't be either. I'm not scared of America competing with China on an economic plane, and I think we should welcome that competition. It would be good for the Chinese, good for the Americans, and good for the rest of the world. And we should de-escalate the military confrontations, take the pressure off of China and Taiwan, let them figure it out for themselves. Let's close most of those bases, bring the money home, get the peace dividend, rebuild our industrial base, and have an economic competition against the Chinese. That's friendly, that's congenial, but that's vigorous and robust. I'm not scared that America cannot outcompete China head-to-head on economic issues. If you like this video and you want to help me become president of the United States, go to Kennedy24.com and donate now.
What an ad. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is the kind of guy who like drops like the meat of his interview with Glenn Greenwald as his campaign ad, which I have to say is a nice change of pace from a lot of the campaign ads that we see, where, you know, it's little Consuela and the Republicans, Mitch McConnell just won't let her have an abortion. You know, she's been turned away. Consuela, you know, showing up to Planned Parenthood. And, you know, you got Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, and the Club for Growth, you know, and Grover Norquist are just standing there in front of the Planned Parenthood, you know, like George Wallace blocking the schoolhouse door. Consuela, like, please, Republicans, I'm about to die, Republicans, please. No, get out of here. We control women's bodies. Vote for Catherine Cortez Masto for your right to choose. Like, that's like a lot of the commercials that you see out there. So it's good to see one that's like about the issues and whatnot, at the very least. You know, the bar has been really lowered, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as a candidate is exceeding. He's jumping over the bar, I would say. Well, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of low expectations, and look, it's been said before, but the soft bigotry of low expectations drags everybody down in our society, and that's the way that the whole world is treating creepy Joe Biden. Like, well, he didn't fall down today. Hunter Biden returning back to Camp David after Hunter's diplomacy. Like, in what universe is this okay? But this mentally vacant crook named Joe Biden, he's over there, you know, hobnobbing with NATO and these, you know, whipping up the war machine against Russia, being a little war stooge, and totally not taking questions from the press. I mean, it's not like he can even articulate what's going on, but the press just keeps trying to get a hold of him when he's over there. Let's take a look.
Thank you.
Mr. President, what is your role in getting Turkey to agree?
Where's it going? Just wandering off.
Mr. President, why weren't you at the signing?
That's him with the NATO Secretary General in the middle of a war, obviously, so he's just wandering off. Doesn't care, doesn't, you know, basically just giving up on trying to make any kind of coherent case for this for this demonic, satanic war over there that the U.S. is whipping up. And here he is with the Lithuanian president. Oh, the press gets escorted in and out like little children on a field trip. Let's take a look. Of course, if they were children, he'd be sniffing them.
Where did you find out that President Gorbachev is objection over Sweden?
Time to go.
Thank you.
Message for Ukrainians on the front lines right now, waiting for a strong signal that they will join NATO.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. Thank you, President. Thank you, guys. Thanks, President. Thanks, President. Thank you.
My favorite was when I heard the audio of one of the reporters like badgering the White House press secretary for a question about Biden's little visit with the British. And she's like, I almost thought like, is there one shoe leather reporter left trying to ask a question? And then the question that she asked is Biden going to eat crumpets? Because apparently that's her little assignment. They send her, like, ask about the crumpets. That'll be a cute little headline. And that's her job for the day. Is she going to run back like in the old days and find a payphone and be like, St. Louis, over the wire, coming over the wire right now. Joe Biden's going to eat crumpets in Great Britain. The journalism profession. Oh, watch these pathetic people, deluding themselves into thinking that maybe this time, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Maybe this time the creepy pedophile who they call the president will answer our questions. So here's Biden with Erdogan, this Erdogan guy.
Mr. President, if the Ukrainians were still gonna have doubts, President Zelensky involved in NATO. President Zelensky said it was absurd that Ukraine doesn't have a timeline for membership.
Time to move out.
Will you make this comment, Mr. President? What's your reaction to what's What's Ukraine's timeline for membership into NATO?
He just sits there creepily.
Mr. President,
That's his
are you
move.
worried this proposal does not have the support of President Zelensky?
Thank you so much, you guys.
Hey guys, we're moving out. Come on. It's time to go.
Thank you.
It's time to go.
Thank you.
Sorry, no one's heading out.
What? That's his move to the press. That's his public posture. Like he's at the Disney Hall of Presidents or something like that. And, remember like John F. Kennedy, I don't know if you remember, if you would watch the old black and white clips of John F. Kennedy's press conferences, where he would just be charming the crowd and, it was just like a phenomenon with, cracking jokes. And he would keep this one lady in the press gallery who he would always call on, who would ask a question like, Mr. President, will you support the Women's Club of Washington, D.C. in their bake-off this Saturday? And he'd be like, yes, ma'am, I'll get right on that. And people just went nuts, like, yeah. His press conferences were so good, they had to kill him. But, of course, I think it had to do more with his opposition to the war machine, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pointed out. But it's like, we've gone from that to this. We had the charm of John F. Kennedy Jr. in the press conferences, and then we have to show some of those clips, too, by the way. We'll do that tomorrow. And then we have, creepy Joe Biden, embarrassing the country, not doing a good job. Hey, the Daily Northwestern is reporting some stuff about the Northwestern football team, which is very fascinating. Northwestern has actually, as of today, they fired their football coach, their head football coach. Now, in the past, you've seen instances like John Gruden making some politically incorrect comments. He got fired as the coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. The NFL kind of led a witch hunt against him. You've seen that kind of stuff. And in this case, there are some claims of racism, that kind of stuff. You'll have to, go through and determine the merits of it on your own with that sort of thing. What's much more fascinating here is the allegations of some very, very weird hazing rituals. And these are the kinds of allegations that if this man is getting fired, the Daily Northwestern, which is the, official student newspaper, it's Northwestern and Evanston's only daily news source since 1881, the Daily Northwestern. They got, like 4 reporters on this. And a former Northwestern University football player, they say, told the Daily some of the hazing conduct investigated by the university involved coerced sexual acts. And the quote was, "I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's just absolutely egregious and vile and inhumane behavior." And they talk about something called running, and in which somebody who gets ran, allegedly, folks. And we remember the Duke lacrosse case and all the ridiculous holes in that. So we're not endorsing this story. We are just looking at what the Daily Northwestern is saying. And they are saying, and this is their words, if a player was selected for running, the player who spoke to the Daily said they would be restrained by a group of 8 to 10 upperclassmen dressed in various purge-like masks who would then begin dry humping the victim in a dark locker room. Quote, "It's a shocking experience as a freshman to see your fellow freshman teammates get ran, but then you see everybody bystanding in the locker room," the player said. "It's just a really abrasive and barbaric culture that has permeated throughout that program for years on end now." The Daily obtained images of whiteboards labeled Runs Giving and Shrek's List, containing a list of names indicating players that the player said needed to be, quote, ran. The player said the tradition was especially common during training camp and around Thanksgiving and Christmas, which he said the team called Runsgiving and Runsmith. The player said, quote, "It's done under the smoke and mirror of, oh, this is team bonding, but no, this is sexual abuse." Well then, purge-like masks. Now again, this is what the Daily Northwestern is saying. And, just to be clear, so Pat Fitzgerald, the head coach at Northwestern University, I mean, this is very, 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 very strange stuff. If there is this kind of stuff, why the purge-like masks? I mean, this sounds sort of similar to stuff that, we've heard about from many, many, many. I mean, these allegations sound very similar to stuff that we've heard about, all kinds of weird rituals and stuff going on. Dry humping at Northwestern, allegedly. And, I mean, we'll probably hear more about this, but basically, the Daily Northwestern, summer editor-in-chief, print managing editors. I assume this is the student newspaper. Can I get an answer on whether the Daily Northwestern is the student newspaper at Northwestern University? Because they're sort of leading the charge on this story. And then, of course, you remember the girl won a Pulitzer Prize, actually, for exposing at Penn State the assistant football coach there, who was a pedophile. And then he went to prison. And then she went to CNN, unfortunately. It's like, what? Oh, you're doing a Caitlin Collins with a Pulitzer? You're doing a Caitlin Collins with a Pulitzer. I believe her name was Sarah Ganim. I don't know if she really made it after the CNN move. Why are you going to CNN? All right, the Daily Northwestern is the student newspaper at Northwestern University, and 1881, according to Wikipedia. So, hey, we'll continue to look at this, but so far, these are anonymous. This is anonymous quotes, right? So we'll continue to monitor this, but it's an interesting thing to see when it comes across. And this will be sort of like one of those one-day stories. Oh, Northwestern fired their coach over hazing, right? For the rest of the country. But what was going on there? Purge-like masks. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the campaign show is always trying to lead the way on finding cool stuff, investigating. We have a whole lot more investigative original content coming. And so if you like us and you need a gun holster, and maybe you need a lot of gun holsters, then you can really help us out. And you know how you'll help us out? By going to vnsh.com/Patrick, and you can buy a very comfortable gun holster at a very big discount. Let's take a look. Christian gun owners should be aware of an unfortunate trend that is putting people in danger. Millions of concealed carrying gun owners have made a huge mistake with their holster. Sadly, their holster is so uncomfortable that they've stopped using it. Maybe you've experienced this problem with uncomfortable holsters. If you have an uncomfortable holster and you don't use it, then your quest to defend yourself or others fails right out of the gate. That's why Vanish holsters are quickly becoming one of the most popular holsters in America. Thousands of customers say that it's the most comfortable holster ever, and when you get one, you'll never stop carrying. This holster also saves you money. That's because it fits 99% of all semi-auto handguns, works without a tactical belt, lets you carry in multiple positions, and it carries 2 fully loaded magazines. And best of all is that because you're a viewer of the campaign show, you can get it for $50 off. Just go to vnsh.com/Patrick to see if your gun will work with it and to activate your discount today. It's normally $130. Since you watch the campaign show, you will get a $50 discount at vnsh.com/Patrick. You know, you try to stop the campaign show, you try to censor the campaign show, you try to derail the campaign show, the runaway freight train of success of the campaign show. I come back selling comfortable, affordable gun holsters.
It's up.
vnsh.com/Patrick. Let's do it. Let's build an empire, and let's begin that empire with the comfortable and affordable holsters from Vanish Holsters, baby. Yeah, go ahead.
You can go onto that landing page right there, and it'll show you all the compatible guns. Many compatible guns for that holster.
Yeah.
Is universal, so take a look.
Love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police. And this is an extremely interesting story. We're going to talk about this. And I hope that you go and you look into this and you research this. Because this is a story that needs to be archived, it needs to be scrapbooked, it needs to be put in the American scrapbook for the year 2023, and it needs to not be forgotten. The United States Capitol Police was, of course, involved in January 6th. The United States Capitol Police, with Officer Byrd there, he was the one who carried out the execution, the murder of Ashley Babbitt. The U.S. Capitol Police, you had the fellow there, Harry, who, as I reported, met with Nancy Pelosi, testified there in Washington, D.C., with no evidence whatsoever that Trump supporters, that MAGA patriots who went to the Capitol on January 6th were chanting the N-word. Of course, there's no evidence of this at all. No video of this at all. At all. And this man, black man, large black man on the Capitol Police Force, said this, that MAGA moms, grandmas, grandpas, regular folks, patriots, went out there, and that there was a big mob that CNN didn't get this on tape. Nobody got this on tape. So weird, in a crowd full of cameras, all these cameras, didn't get this on tape. Don't you think Kevin McCarthy would have leaked it? You know, just because he hates MAGA so much? Behind the scenes, I can tell you, he's Republican establishment, baby. He's already trying to flip to DeSantis, but DeSantis is like off the rails. So Fox is now trying to push Glenn Youngkin. But listen, the Capitol Police, here's the news. Let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. A Capitol Police officer has been arrested for child pornography.
Ooh.
According to WUSA 9, Jared M. Lemon, charged with 5 counts of child pornography, 5 counts of possession of this material, and he was arrested in Maryland because evidently he lives in Maryland, and that's where they arrested him at his home. And the U.S. Capitol Police actually knew about the shadiness, the alleged shadiness of this person. They learned that he had been accused of this behavior, get this, December 2022, and apparently they took away his police powers, and, they, said that they reassigned him to, this is what WUSA 9 says, he was then reassigned to administrative duties with no interaction with the public. Wait a second. So they knew about these allegations, and they reassigned him to administrative duties? Administrative duties. Okay. Interesting. But he kept working as a police officer, didn't he? They took away his police powers, but he was still working for them. Administrative duties. The Capitol Police learned about this December 2022. So we're learning about this, July of 2023 with this fellow being arrested, Jared Lemon. And this is many months later, isn't it? Whole lot of time went by. Now, bear in mind, Nancy Pelosi, even though the Capitol Police didn't do such a good job of stopping the guy who allegedly broke into the house there in San Francisco and allegedly assaulted Paul Pelosi with the hammer. Capitol Police sort of dropped the ball on that one, per usual. Like, oh, the tapes, kind of like the water leak at State Farm Arena, and or kind of like the Epstein tape. Oh, the cameras malfunction. They're even trying to do that for the White House cocaine scandal now. Oh, there's a problem with the cameras. The cameras malfunction. So you would think that kind of gross incompetence from the Capitol Police, Nancy Pelosi would be like, what? I don't like you guys anymore. Why would wouldn't she be mad about that? No, Nancy Pelosi actually wants the Capitol Police to expand, and even to expand to Florida. Did you know that? To Florida, where a whole lot of Trump supporters are. She wants the Capitol Police to go national, to San Francisco too. So this like rogue police force at the U.S. Capitol that was involved in January 6th, they were there. And, all the politicians have, the hardworking Capitol Police, the hardworking Capitol Police. Really, the hardworking Capitol Police that is all buddy-buddy with Nancy Pelosi, but she doesn't seem to mind that they sort of messed up the whole camera situation with what was going on there in San Francisco with Paul Pelosi and the gentleman with the hammer. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you so much, and come back to the campaign show every single day. I want to show you something. If you're a little bit down on your luck and you think you need a comeback, maybe you need a big comeback on an internet talk show selling comfortable, affordable gun holsters and then building an empire of truth. Whatever it is, whatever's got you down, just, there's always a second act, and you can always come back, as this panda knows. Let's take a look at this panda. Oh, man, that chair got him. And he gets his revenge. He plotted that like the Count of Monte Cristo. All right. Inspiring to see, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to Instagram.com/the.campaignshow. You can follow me on Twitter.com/HowleyReporter. You can follow me on Gab.com/PatrickReports. You can. And you can just vibe with us, and we got your back. And I'm not some kind of sinister, malevolent globalist or whatever. We can talk about the news. We can put people together with like-minded people, and we can make sure that freedom and truth and free speech prevails. I'm certainly going to exercise my free speech every single weekday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the campaign show. I'll see you tomorrow.